Reflections on the Inner Self, a discourse inspired by Neville Goddard, dated November 18, 1968, ushers us into the domain of mind power, showcasing how our mental states have the capacity to crystallize our imaginations into physical realities. We are about to embark on an exploration of the profound potential within our minds to shape and modify our external and internal worlds. Prepare to dive deep into the essence of inner movement and the sacred act of creation that resides within each of us. By adopting these insights, you position yourself as an agent of change in your personal universe. We are set to explore these concepts and more. Therefore, it's essential to watch this video in its entirety to fully understand the teachings we're excited to share. Before we continue, I invite you to subscribe to our channel, joining us on this journey of spiritual discovery and ensuring you stay updated on future revelations. Your support helps our channel continue to provide illumination for your journey and others. If this video resonates with you, please share it with at least 2 people. Thank you, everyone. In chapter 13 of Corinthians, Paul urges his followers to look inward and examine their commitment to their faith. Explore your inner world. Do you not realize that Jesus Christ is within you unless, of course, you fail the test? Tonight, we delve into such self-examination. Let me start with a true story. A nurse and her young son, aged 8, were at the beach, watching the waves and seagulls, when she said, "It's time to go." The boy, staring out at the sea, replied, "You see the same scene as I do, but you don't see what I'm imagining." Both were observing the same ocean and waves, yet their perceptions diverged significantly. Years before, my wife had a vision where she found herself in a clearing in the woods, with a lectern before her and a gathering around. A woman came forward, opening a book titled The Belief in Faith and the Forgiveness of Sins Within Judaism. Then, another woman read from a book titled The Belief in Faith and the Forgiveness of Sins in Christianity. This experience offered my wife a deep insight into the challenges of embracing Christianity over Judaism. I wish to explain the difference. Benjamin Disraeli, a figure of the secular world, once said, "Christianity is the completion of Judaism." The core of modern Christianity, whether Catholic, Protestant, or other denominations, remains closely linked to Judaism through its focus on external forms of worship. Paul expressed concern, "I fear my labor for you may have been wasted." The celebration of holy days, adherence to specific rituals and dietary rules, exemplifies this outward form of worship. Recently, Catholics have relaxed their rules, allowing the consumption of meat on Fridays. However, any ritual tied to specific dates represents an act of external worship. The Judaism practiced by Jews, Muslims, or Christians is marked by these external rituals. Attending church, consuming bread, and believing in the ingestion of Christ's body, followed by wine as his blood, regardless of one's actions afterward, is akin to Judaic practices. If a Muslim bows towards Mecca several times a day, thinking he fulfills the law, yet acts contrary to its spirit, he remains within the realm of Judaism. The Sermon on the Mount clearly distinguishes this difference. "You have heard it said, 'You shall not commit adultery.' But I say to you, anyone who looks at another with lust has already committed adultery in their heart." This statement marks the transition from external compliance to internal conviction, which is crucial. My wife, through her vision, realized, I had not understood the difficulty of being a Christian. Browning, in his poem Easter Day, laments how hard it is to truly live as a Christian. Browning acknowledged the importance of an inner life. He recognized that simply imagining one's desires, without matching internal conviction and action, is insufficient. Life, fundamentally, is a mental journey that a sincere Christian embarks on from within. Thus, Disraeli's statement that Christianity is the realization of Judaism carries deep significance. In the first act of divinity, we learn about the movement of God's Spirit, heralding the beginning of all creation. Tonight, I aim to show how the Spirit of God moves within us. God's eternal name, I Am, exists within each of us as our powerful I Am. This I Am requires movement to bring about any change in our world. If your daily observations remain the same, it indicates an absence of internal movement, and consequently, your world remains unchanged. However, if you adopt the mindset of the boy by the sea, visualizing your desires instead of accepting reality as is, your world will transform as a result of your internal shift. I often think back to the boy, likely lost in dreams while looking at the sea, trying to understand the nurse's perspective. I vividly recall the call of the ship summoning the captain back on board in my hometown of Barbados. My father, who supplied provisions to these ships, often hosted the captain and his officers. Located just a quarter mile from the harbor, the ship's call was a familiar sound. Lying in my bed, I'd imagine the ship's next destination, mentally transporting myself there. Now, I understand why staying in Barbados, merely dreaming of distant lands, was not enough. I was compelled to board that ship. America, my envisioned destination, called to me, and at 17, with my father's reluctant blessing, aware of my determination to leave, I set sail on one of those ships. Therefore, I propose, the Jew lives in the external world, while the true Christian dwells within his imagination, experiencing the external world from an inner perspective. A Christian, seeking to manifest a specific state, immerses himself in it as though it were his reality. In doing so, he represents the culmination of Judaism at a higher level, for all is promised to humanity. Whatever you dream of tonight regarding who you wish to become, you must inhabit that state, engaging in the act of creation from within. As Blake said, if the observer enters these images in his imagination, taking up the chariot of his contemplative thought, he would ascend from the grave to meet the Lord in the air, and rejoice. Living day by day in the same state is like residing in a tomb. Venturing into the realms of your imagination, taking up the chariot of fire of your contemplative thought, lifts you from your present state to meet the Lord of your newly desired state in the air, bringing joy, for you will have completely transformed your world. Shakespeare wisely stated, "If it be not now, yet it will come, the readiness is all." The moment you immerse yourself in the thought, embrace its reality, and recognize the state as truth, you are ready, and it will manifest. If it delays, continue in that state of acknowledged truth, for I can assure you, based on personal experience, it will come without fail. Confined to the small island of Barbados, with no immediate means to leave, I ignored the reality presented by the travel agent. Instead, like the boy by the sea, I envisioned what she could not. Informed that I would be placed at the end of a long waiting list, delaying my arrival in New York City until well after May 1st, I didn't argue with the agent. Grateful, I hung up, sat down, closed my eyes, and visualized my desired outcome. Climbing the gangway, feeling each step beneath my feet, holding the handrail, engaging all five senses, I fulfilled the Judaic prophecy where every place that the sole of your foot will tread upon I have given to you, as stated in the book of Joshua. This verse, interpreted literally yet internally, allowed me to embark on an imaginary ship. I could feel the crossing of the ocean, the salt accumulated on the handrail, and view the island with a sense of nostalgia. Embracing this reality, the agent soon called to inform me of a cancellation from New York City. Despite a long waiting list in Barbados and elsewhere, I was selected. Since our daughter was only 3, allowing her to share a berth with one of us made selling 3 tickets viable. They saw it as a business decision, but it was the result of my imaginative act, for I, embodying the Spirit of God, had initiated movement. By internally acknowledging my place on the ship, I had embraced Christianity. You have heard it said, "You shall not commit adultery." But I say to you, any man who desires another has already committed the act. Internally, how can one suppress the impulse and believe that abstaining from the act equates to upholding the law? Yet, before God, no one is justified by the law. Is the Spirit received through adherence to the law or through faith? It's not the law at this level that enables transcendence of this world. The law, when applied internally, operates flawlessly at this level. Modifying it internally paves the way for the fulfillment of the promise within, for the promise follows the law. Embracing Christianity is indeed challenging. I can attest, for a Christian lives in accordance with Jewish law, yet from within. Judaism forms the foundation of our world. Everything that existed, exists, and will exist, finds its basis in the solid rock of Judaism. Yet, this rock must transform into water, signifying internal action, which then must turn into wine through application, preparing the individual for the promise, the moment God reveals himself to that person. I invite you to explore the art of transformation in this very moment. Movement is only perceptible when there's a change in position relative to a stationary point. Picture this: if I were to walk to the other end of this room and everything around me moved in unison, my movement would be invisible. For movement to be recognized, some elements must remain fixed, providing a backdrop against which my relocation is observed. This concept applies not only to the physical realm but also to our personal growth. Take, for example, my goal to advance in my career. Blake encourages us to venture into our imagination, thus, I must undergo a transformation. I picture myself assuming a new role within my professional environment. As I progress in my career, how my colleagues see me changes. By redefining my position, I solidify my identity in this new role until it is universally recognized, embracing and fostering this new state. The potential inherent in this state has been activated, and I trust that, in time, it will materialize. As I firmly hold on to my redefined self, those around me will start to see me as I see myself. If they have the authority to elevate, they will do so. Just as the woman in Barbados felt compelled to move me up her list because I had fully embraced my envisioned state, I climbed the gangway, believed in its reality, and visualized the world as it would become. And so it shall be, the external world will adjust to reflect my self-perception. I am a being of thought. I have moved beyond the routine of Sunday church attendance and partaking in the Eucharist to finding peace in my inner sanctuary, stepping into the state many devoutly seek but are prevented by their fears. Year after year, they light candles and pray to a deity they do not know, yet they see no change. They give to their churches, invest in sacred burial plots, yet experience no transformation. As for me, what becomes of my remains is of little concern. They may be used as seen fit, for I understand that I am not just this physical body. I have discovered my true self. Everything in this world is temporary, lasting only until humanity truly embraces Christianity and fulfills the essence of Judaism. Judaism is the foundation that must be melted into water. The story of Jacob at the well, removing the stone, a symbol of overcoming external barriers, and drawing water, mirrors the first miracle in the Gospel of John, where water is turned into wine. When the divine Spirit moves, change follows. If I am is the name of God and you affirm your presence here, you are on the right path. Mental transformation is the basis for all significant and lasting change. Understanding and applying this principle allows us to change our inner landscape and, as a result, see changes in our external world. Recognizing our inherent power, the Almighty I Am, reveals the true path to creating the life we envision and deserve. This knowledge and practice of mentally transitioning into the desired state distinguishes those proficient in the law of imagination from those who wander aimlessly, not tapping into the creative power within. The call is clear: dive into your imagination, inhabit the desired state, and observe as the external world begins to reflect your inner reality. Ultimately, the external is simply a reflection of the internal. By changing our inner world, we inevitably alter our external circumstances. On this journey of exploration and inner discovery, let us always recognize the power within us, the power of I Am, the spirited essence of God, ready to turn water into wine, leading us from dreams to reality. Tonight, as I sleep, I will wake up tomorrow unchanged by external influences. Yet, on Friday night, as I rest, I will envision myself elsewhere, and though I wake up here, I am confident of my eventual arrival at my desired destination. Timing is essential. By mentally positioning myself in the desired state, I wait in this city until a letter arrives, initiating events that transport me to my chosen location. I've learned that the Spirit of the Lord moved means exactly that. Every time I, bearing His name, initiate movement, the Lord moves. I enter a state and remain there until it feels natural. Resting in that state causes a corresponding shift in my external environment, proving my ability to create. The state emerges through movement, the Spirit of the Lord stirred, creating corresponding realities in this realm. People retire to bed nightly, desiring change yet remain unchanged, unfamiliar with true Christianity. The masses identifying as Christians have not fully embraced it, for Christianity fulfills Judaism, the steadfast rock transformed into water, then into wine through application. We're advised, not to drink water alone, but to use a little wine for your stomach's sake. This wisdom is known, now, apply it. In doing so, water becomes wine. I've given you water, explaining how the law works. Now, you must turn it into wine through application. Examine your faithfulness. Test whether you believe in God's creative power, Jesus Christ, within you. If Jesus Christ represents God's creative force and resides within you, who else but you can manifest it? Aspiring to a new state, you turn the water of desire into the wine of realization. Tonight, sleep with the consciousness of being in your desired state. Enjoy the wine of realization, and you will move, events will unfold, your world will change because you have shifted mentally. Movement is acknowledged through relative displacement. If I move from one place to another while everything around me remains unchanged, my movement is noticeable. This principle of transitioning between states operates unfailingly and absolutely. Yet, you are its operator, it remains inactive without your engagement. This principle was initially presented to humanity. I have shared a fundamental truth, the cornerstone of Judaism. Christianity does not introduce a new doctrine but is the fulfillment of a faith as old as Abraham's. Yet, as Browning noted, how hard it is to be a Christian, a realization my wife had upon witnessing different interpretations of the same scripture, understanding the complexity of living Christianity. If, throughout your day, you encounter stories not aligned with your desires, and you are truly Christian, you will only perceive what you wish, ignoring external dissonance. During a recent election, a panel of journalists covering the three candidates observed, our only focus was Nixon's demeanor, always speaking as if he were already the president. Nixon didn't just aspire, in his mind, he was the president, unlike his opponents who openly sought votes. Nixon spoke from the state of presidency. Achieving papal status or any high office does not equate to true Christianity. Claims of infallibility are irrelevant, a distortion of life's essence unrelated to genuine Christianity. Christianity embodies Judaism, the steadfast rock turned into its liquid form, giving stories a mental interpretation, and then transforming the water into wine through application, as depicted in the Gospel of John's first miracle. A man didn't simply enter a wedding feast, fill stone jars with water, and magically turn it into wine. This story serves as a profound allegory, urging humanity to uncover its hidden meaning. Tonight, hold a grand vision, fully embrace its reality, for it is the feeling that guides you to that state, achieving that initial act of creation through emotion. The Spirit of the Lord stirred, and existence unfolded. The Lord's name, I Am, means if my perspective changes post-transformation, then God is moved, for God became me so I could become God. This, I affirm from experience. During World War II, drafted for the duration of the conflict, I desired not to participate. Knowing my desire, I envisioned myself in New York City, honorably discharged, and in my apartment. In my imagination, I traveled 3,000 miles from Fort Polk, Louisiana, to my New York City apartment, observing my surroundings, affirming my location. That night, in a profound vision, my discharge document appeared, revised from denied to approved, accompanied by the statement, "What I have done, I have done." No further action was necessary. Through my imagination, I initiated movement, resulting in a corresponding external reality. 9 days later, I was honorably discharged by the same authority who had initially denied my request. By mastering the art of changing one's mindset and making it a part of daily life, individuals embark on the authentic journey of Christianity, which is not contingent upon attending services at a synagogue on Fridays or Saturdays. Paul, an early Christian leader, proudly acknowledged, "I am from the tribe of Benjamin, a descendant of Abraham." He did not forsake his Jewish roots, rather, he illustrated that Christianity is the completion of Judaism, a view supported by his namesake, Benjamin, who articulated, Christianity is essentially the fulfillment of Judaism. Those who resisted this evolution did not grasp this concept, continuing to interpret the scriptures as mere historical events, which is a misconception. Merely observing without moving beyond the symbolic stone will not bring freedom. It is crucial to turn the stone into water, and then the water into wine, for genuine freedom to be achieved. This concept lies at the heart of my message. In life, no piece of advice is more profound than this. Fulfilling your dreams does not depend on having connections with powerful people, possessing the ideal educational qualifications, or being in the opportune place at the right time. Onassis didn't amass his wealth by being a genius, he was no Einstein. His fortune was the result of precise dreaming. It is hoped that your ambitions extend beyond merely acquiring wealth. The aim should be to gather sufficient means to enjoy a comfortable and fulfilling life, avoiding the pitfalls of excess. My wish for you is to seek the fulfillment of the promise, as that is what truly matters. Yet, as you make your way through the material world, regard the advice shared tonight as the most pragmatic you could receive. This approach is the key to realizing all your desires, without fail. In Act 5, Scene 2 of Hamlet, as he awaits the others to join in the poison, he declares, "If it be now, 'tis not to come, if it be not to come, it will be now, if it be not now, yet it will come, the readiness is all." He was certain of its inevitability, for all was prepared. Therefore, I urge you to take to heart what I've imparted. It will not lead to disappointment, but remember, you are the agent of change, it does not occur spontaneously. You must shift from your current state to the one you desire. Hold on to this new consciousness, and you will be ready. The promise made by God will manifest at the perfect moment. You will receive the insight needed to discover your true identity. Mere words are not enough for comprehension in this realm, hence, the vision is given for self-discovery. In time, you too will share this vision with others, allowing them to see their true selves, perpetuating this cycle until the end, when there is one body, one Lord, one God, and Father of all. However, do not neglect the lesson shared tonight on the application of the divine principle. Test yourselves to ensure your faith is unshakable. If you believe in the principles I have outlined, reflect throughout your day. Ask yourself if you are truly clinging to faith. Scrutinize yourselves. Were you swayed by the tragedies reported in the newspaper? Did a discouraging letter make you falter, or did you remain steadfast in your faith? There's no need to psychogenically accept external events unless they align with your goals. Perform self-assessments. If the stories you encounter through hearing, seeing, and feeling do not match your desires, take action. Cultivate the practice of living mentally. Embrace Christianity in its truest form, actualizing Judaism. Now, let's observe a moment of silence.